Unfortunately, they are not paying attention to the fact that a whistleblower who was at Ground Zero on the day of 9/11 got a call after the first plane strike. Let me repeat that. Got a call after the first plane strike when they said it was still an accident. And they told him to get down to New York City right away. You know, he said right away alarm bells should have went off. And I thought it was curious at the time, but as soon as the event really started to take shape, you just forget everything. But he got a call after the first one to come document everything. Now he gets down there, what does he see? Oh, he sees all sorts of physical anomalies. He records all sorts of physical anomalies. He realizes that a lot of the documentation and secret underground facilities had been emptied out prior to the attacks. What do you know? How about that? He mentions 7 in here. He talks about the architects and engineers. He has videotape that he's trying to get out. Oh, by the way, he's been in exile in Argentina since 2003, and he was an official FEMA employee. And he was discussing, I mean, we're going to read you some of the article on the other side. But he admits, you know, he had discussions with other people that worked with FEMA that realized, you know, right away there were a lot of anomalies and a lot of these things were very disturbing and they didn't add up. And we got to get this guy on. His name is Kurt Sonnenfeld. Apparently his wife committed suicide while he was down in Argentina. And even though the prosecutors knew he was 100% not guilty, he had been exonerated of the crimes, the United States still tried to extradite him. And his neighbors later said he wasn't planning on staying in Argentina. He thought it was just going to be for a trip. And what happens? All of a sudden, his house is being surveilled. It's being broken into. He stayed at a friend's house. Their house was broken into. Just a nightmarish story. He's got 29 tapes. He spent 1 month there, from day 1 to day 31. This is a huge story. We need this videotape. I'll go through all 29 tapes, all 29 hours. It needs to be done. We'll be back after this, taking your calls and blitzing through the news. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
Acolablue.com is the premier atmospheric water generator. Grabs the moisture right out of the air, 7.5 gallons a day with their smaller unit. Very affordable. Then passes it through 7 filters, including carbon and reverse osmosis, neutral pH, no pollutants or toxins. Absolutely the best water you've ever had. Literally, drink it. 800-691-6043, 800-691-6043, or acolablue.com. How do you spell that? ECOLO blue.com. acolablue.com, or banners up on Infowars.com and prisonplanet.com.
There's a war going on for your mind. We are the insurgents.
And we are back live. Let me just read you some of the excerpts on this right here. As official videographer for the U.S. government, Kurt Sonnenfeld was detailed to Ground Zero on September 11, 2001, where he spent 1 month filming 29 tapes. What I saw at certain moments and in certain places is very disturbing. He never handed them over to the authorities and has been persecuted ever since. Kurt Sonnenfeld lives in exile in Argentina, where he wrote El Perseguido, The Persecuted. His recently published book tells the story of his unending nightmare and drives another nail in the coffin of the government's official account of 9/11 events. Below is an exclusive interview with Voltaire Net. All right, so let's just go through some of the things that this guy has as credentials. Kurt Sonnenfeld graduated from the University of Colorado with studies in international affairs and economics, as well as in literature and philosophy. He worked for the United States government as an official videographer and served as the director's broadcast operations for the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So yet another FEMA whistleblower, this one a voluntary one, because remember, you know, I talk about FEMA officials discussing the molten metal at Ground Zero, and then the debunkers just say it never existed. They just say that they were mistaken. Oh, that must be aluminum from the plane. The video doesn't exist of Ken Holden talking about molten metal from Building 6, even though I have the video. I didn't imagine it or manifest it. It's in Loose Change Final Cut. I mean, give me a break. And then I say, well, you know, one of the heads of FEMA actually said that they had degree temperatures of 2,700 at the scene of the World Trade Center. And then I'm told that that doesn't exist. Some little punk puts up a quote-unquote debunking video. I see it months later. I kind of chuckle to myself because I didn't include it in any of my films. I thought about including it in Fabled Enemies, but I thought to myself, you know what? Let's just stay away from Controlled Demolition. There's just so much else out there. We've done those films. So it just kind of sat in my computer for a while. And I found the scan, and I put the scan, and sure enough, the head of FEMA in New York, Peter Bakersky, makes the comment that there is a cremation effect at the World Trade Center. Why? Why a cremation effect? Gee, I wonder why. Oh, 2,700 degree temperatures. Burmis 1, debunkers 0. It's almost like that every time. It's really Burmis, 178,126. Debunkers maybe 2 times have made a point about somebody in a bunny suit or something like that. Good for you. Oh, I'm so glad you're so honest with yourself while you viciously attack those who seek the truth. And then won't mention the Peter Bakersky comment. See, it doesn't exist to them. And the kid actually said that I made up the article. I typed it up, I scanned it in, I faked the whole thing. You can see the print of the other side of the newspaper on the article. And then if you type in key words, like a sentence string on it, it was republished throughout the country. It was just something that wasn't very known by the majority of the 9/11 Truth Movement. Because there are literally so many things out there, no one person can go through them all. Now, those are the facts. I talk about this international intelligence organization time and time again. I talk about proxy nations. I talk about false flag funding. I talk about infiltration into other intelligence networks and creations of. This one out of Press TV, Mossad Taliban whistleblower killed in Pakistan. Oh, do you mean the Mossad is involved with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda? I can't imagine it. A tribal leader who earlier defected from Pakistani Taliban chief Batullah Masrood and revealed the militant's group ties with the U.S. and Israel has been shot dead. We've been telling you that the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda are an international intelligence creation. We've been explaining to you that we went in there prior to 9/11. We gave the Taliban $40 million in farmers' aid. We said to them, hey, we can build this pipeline with your help. You can be showered with a carpet of gold or a carpet of bombs. And they wanted to hold out. They wanted to be tough guys. They probably held out, at the behest of their buddy, Osama bin Laden, and they didn't understand. No, wait, this guy's a CIA asset. He's setting us up. Because bin Laden spends the night of September 10th or 11th, I forget which one, in a Pakistani ISI hospital surrounded by the military. You'll see that in Invisible Empire. I promise you that. What do you know? Oh, it doesn't exist. Bin Laden was the enemy. Yeah, right. The assassination of Khalid Zanadun comes days after he revealed that their comrade was pursuing a U.S.-Israeli agenda across the violence-racked country. Remember, they have to make an excuse why Barack Obama is redistributing forces from Iraq into Afghanistan. Afghanistan has to have a resurgence of terror, an insurgency of injustice for us to do that. So they have to create it with their little intelligence agencies. Go read the entire article. It's up at prisonplanet.tv and Infowars.com. We're going to get into Bill Clinton's little think tank that he's putting together, MySpace, David Fincher and Facebook, Israel defies U.S. With plan for 240 new homes in the Palestinian land, China and U.S. head for trade war, Congress and IMF's power grab, California collapsing, and much, much more. But let's go back to your calls. Black in Florida. Black, you're on the line.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right.
I appreciate the work you're doing and everything. That's good and stuff. But I also like to add to everybody out there, to all your listeners, for them to really understand the importance that the young is the key. Like, the young is really the key to all of this. That's why they're trying to block the young with all these electronic stuff and all this and that, to block their minds away from it. Because if you tell some of these kids about it, they wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it so much that when you tell them, it's like they get so scared that they don't want to believe it. So you have to tell them, like, it's all about them. It's their future. You feel me? Because if we don't stand up for this right now, because this is our time. There've been generations before us. And this is our time right now to make our stand. Like,
yeah, no, you're absolutely 110% right. Who knows how much time we have left?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, brother. I mean, honestly, the technopoly has never been stronger. Back in the day when Hitler was coming through, he didn't really have the manpower to take over the world, let alone the tech. These are the days of the crude rockets. Okay, now we have drones that can take out 45 people like that. You're there 1 second, you're gone the next. It's over. And we've got robotics coming in all over the place. One of the stories we covered yesterday, just briefly, is now they're going to teach ethics to robotics. Meanwhile, they're going to have some punk kid who's 18 years old, straight out of the Xbox, hand him an Xbox controller. Here you go, son, control this ripsaw, go through. And he's going to be killing real people. Real people. It's not just a video screen anymore, folks. It's the real deal. And there's this new special on the History Channel. I'm trying to get a hold of it. It just aired. That goes through all these robotics, all this AI, how your house is virtually going to be a motion detection biometric spy center. Something out of 1984. You're going to be changing the channel in your mind because TV is going to be wired into your eye. And I've talked about the worldwide mind before, the brain chip. These are their open plans. They're the ones promoting it. I'm not making the television shows and the think tank paperwork on it. That's not me. That's somebody else. We'll be back after this. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Burmis.